My first question to you is, do you like playing games while you play games? Desktop Defenders is one of several desktop games I've played this year, and they seem to become more popular. Desktop Defender is a small-scale, idle auto-battler that plays itself for the most part. At the center you have your ship, with enemies approaching from all directions, trying to slam into you before you can shoot them down. A very basic setup for the game. The game is played in waves, with each wave being around 30 seconds long, getting harder and harder with every level. Every 10th level will be a boss level, and if you die you restart the game from wave 1. So how do you make progress, you might ask? As you kill enemies and bosses you gain XP and gold. Yes, with the XP you earn you level up. There are 150 levels, and these are permanent upgrades you get for each level. These upgrades will range from money multiplier, weapon unlocks, damage multiplier, a new starting wave for when you die, so you won't always start at level 1, you might move up to 10, 15 and so on. Then I also mentioned that you get gold. The gold can be spent on another type of upgrade for your ship, increasing your fire rate, damage, projectile speed, size of your projectiles, health, money growth, XP growth, stuff like that. And then there is also a third way of making progress, and that is via Ascension, which will grant you star points, gold and XP multiplier, but it will reset you back to wave 1, removing all your skill points and gold, but you'll of course keep your level upgrades that you've earned so far. This will overall make the next run faster, and with the star points you can now unlock new weapons, get a permanent damage increase, unlock more equipment slots. I think you start off with 1 or 2 equipment slots, and by the end you will have 18 slots. The equipment will have a big impact, the same with which weapon you'll use. There are 21 weapons in the game so far, all of them very distinct, at least visually. I haven't however found many that are viable. Most are way too slow and can't keep up with the amount of enemies thrown at you, which is kind of a shame. You could maybe mitigate this problem with equipment focusing on attack speed, but here is kind of where my second issue with the game comes in. In order to equip new equipment, you'll have to destroy the old ones that you have equipped. I would love to see some form of inventory, or maybe that you could just drop the equipment you have equipped, but some way that you could experiment with different builds instead of kind of guessing. There aren't that many different equipment pieces in the game, so some form of combining or upgrading the equipment pieces would be nice to see. It would also add a bit more depth. But then again, this is a game for $5, so it doesn't feel like you can ask too much of it. But as a game you will have on a side monitor or in the corner of your screen, giving it attention from time to time, upgrading skills, starting over, it's quite nice. And there are enough settings here to customize it to your liking, changing the size of the window. Like, you can make it really small or basically take up your whole screen. You can have it always on top if you want, and they just added transparency to the projectiles. And if you leave it on for a while and come back, you'll have a ton of gold on hand, and that really hits your dopamine receptors with the amount of upgrading you can do. And with Shift you can multi-upgrade one skill with all your gold, or you can single click. I wish there was something in between here. Sometimes I want to split the gold between 2 or 3 upgrades. There is a fine balance to me how you play these games, because in the beginning and the first couple of ascensions, there is a lot of micromanagement at the start of each new run, but as you progress it becomes less and less. But on the other hand, if you leave the game on for like a day or half a day, you'll have so much currency it kind of almost breaks the game. You'll make so much progress. But the developers have kind of thought about this as well, because as you hit level 150, you kind of unlock a new progression system. I'm not saying it's better or changes the game in a major way, but it at least continues the game. One thing that kind of annoys me after playing this for a while is the background. I would love if the background changed every 10th level or every ascension, so that you can see the progress even visually. Right now, seeing the background in the ship becomes kind of repetitive and dull. I would love for something to change here. The game is nowhere perfect, but it is a really nice game to have on a side monitor when you play something else or watching something. And as I just mentioned, the game is $5, so even though I might not like everything about it, it's a very easy game to recommend, it's a very easy game to play. It definitely gives you that dopamine of upgrading shit, and getting back to the game after a while is kind of exciting because you know there are loot and upgrades that need your attention.